Hey guys, welcome back. This is part 3 of reshaping your data. In the last video, what we did was added some additional dimensional values, and I showed you how we could include the aggregated column, quantity sold, in our data model so we could use it within our visualizations and analysis. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can make that data load a little bit more efficient. So to get started, I'm just going to switch over to our help and show you that along with the load statement, which is responsible for loading data into the data model from the source, which could be an Excel file or a SQL statement from a database, etc., there are certain arguments that can go along with it. In this case, the argument we're interested in here is resident, which is basically used to load data from a previously loaded table. So if we go back into Qlik Sense, instead of accessing the source twice like you see here, we're just going to access it once and then reuse that already loaded data to perform the additional transformations. So to do that, we'll start with a clean slate, and I'll just create a new script tab, and we'll call this one Efficient Load, and we're going to move it above Excel Report. And then we'll use the Data Wizard to select our Excel report, just like we did in the first two videos. Skip the header size to 4, and this time we're going to select all of the columns and click Insert Script. Now I must add that where state, which is the state column, and if you realized it had the value of total inside that column, so we're going to say not equal to the string of total like we did previously. That'll clean up that particular row of data and load all of these into a table structure that we're going to define. And in order to do that, you basically use what's called a table label. And all that is a name that you assign the label preceding the load statement. So here I'm just going to call it temp table and end it with a colon. Then going back to our section of code that does the transformation or reshaping of the data, we simply are going to remove this from statement and the where statement, and we're going to replace that with the resident keyword, and you can see it'll pop up in the ItaliCsense, temp table, and then semicolon. So that's going to allow us to reuse that previously loaded data. And then we're going to do the same thing with this section here that loads the aggregate column for quantity sold. Okay, if you wanted to denote these tables separately, we can use table labels here. We can call this ag data, colon, and then above this one here, we can call this one final trans data as such. So when we create the link, you'll see those two table names. And then finally, the last thing to do is use a drop table statement and then the name of the table that's containing the data that you previously loaded, which is the one we're using temporarily. So temp table. And that way we don't hold on to that data, and this creates a more efficient load. So now we'll load this data, and we'll go over to the data model, and now you can see our final trans data as well as our ag data in the data model viewer. And then if we go over to the data visualizations, you can see nothing has changed because everything's been the same. The columns are the same, the visuals are the same, as well as our aggregated metrics. So what we've done here is loaded the source data once, and then by utilizing the resident keyword, access that same source data that we defined in that temporary table, and we're able to reuse that efficiently without having to access the source data multiple times. Okay, so this is the end of this particular series of reshaping your data. As I've stated in previous videos, I do appreciate your time and your comments and your feedback. Please leave them in the location where this video is embedded, which is usually the Qlik community. If you do view this on YouTube, note the links in the description will take you to community documents page where there are sometimes additional samples and attachments as well. And please leave your feedback and comments and even suggestions for other videos you would like to see. All right, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.